Jangle, Bangle, Bangle.
We have now entered the lab of Escobar, Fort Sama, episode 58. Second episode of this week. Yesterday, we're recording this on Tuesday night. On Monday night, we recorded 57 for y'all. Went about an hour. We covered some good topics. Had a lot of show and tell, a lot of videos on that episode. As I was editing the episode today, I was like, oh,
we only got one copyright claim on that.
yeah, exactly.
You're doing all right.
And we got it on the World of Darts, which was a great episode. Definitely go check out 57. This episode is recorded on Tuesday night and will be put out on Thursday morning. We wanted to have a guest on this episode, getting ready for the NFL playoff, season. This is an exciting time for people. Obviously every Sunday, Saturday, Monday now is even more consumed by viewers and more money's on the table, more bets. And we're glad we have this guest entering the lab today. We've been following her for over a year. We've been following her content. She's a great personality. Never talked to her. We've only talked to her 5 minutes prior to this. And she's even better than I thought because we like people to have energy and that can speak about sports. So we're going to get to know her on this episode as you guys do, listening and watching. So Jill Bijolle of She's Game Obsessed podcast, enter the lab.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
You did a great job on the name pronunciation.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I always have to make sure.
Of him practicing how to say it before we got
in the mirror.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, we appreciate you joining us and entering the lab, even though you're on vacation. So talk to that. Where are you in the world?
Yeah, currently in the Cayman Islands, here with just a fun group of people. I tweeted out earlier today saying I think it's official. I'm just moving to the Caribbean. Tidbit for any of you, if you've never been, I highly recommend going. It's a completely different lifestyle, and I'm ready to fully embrace it.
Nice. Yeah, no, we're glad that you definitely came and joined us, and especially like Ray said, on vacation. That means a lot. We appreciate it.
Of course.
So, we know a little bit about you. You're living in South Florida, obsessed with sports, especially football, but let's backtrack it and we always want to start our episodes when we have a guest on entering the lab of getting to know that person a little bit, whether it's background, whether it's what your favorite sport teams are, how'd you get into sports, obviously being a lady, because that's not as common, girls are into sports more now than ever and into the betting world, but to be all in like you are on social media and a platform and doing it as you are, I'm always intrigued by how people started and kind of how it led to it. So go ahead, you have the floor. Kind of introduce yourself and give your podcast and everything that you do some love.
Of course, yeah. I actually grew up in New England. I grew up Patriots fan. So yes, all the boo jokes. I see your Giants jersey. And it just became a passion of mine, and it was never something I truly embraced until I was kind of just floating through college, just going to get a degree. And it finally occurred to me midway through college, probably as most people do. And I went, I could do this as a job. So then I decided to go ahead and pursue it as a career and graduated. And right as I graduated, COVID happened, which is so lovely. So I had to readapt learning what I was going to do with television and broadcasting to social media. So the last realistically 2, almost 3 years has been a journey all on my own of just learning. It's an interesting world out there. I'll say that. But sports has just kind of always been something in my life, something I've been passionate about, whether it's been a socialization aspect or just something that I've enjoyed watching for fun. So that's where it led me to today, and I'm very much enjoying it. So I'm ready for bigger things to happen, and I'm hoping that happens soon. But I very much enjoy where I'm at.
Nice, yeah. That's usually how it is. It's kind of just like a passion that kind of clicks in once you're young, and hopefully you can keep going on it with
Yep.
later in life. Was it like a family member that got you involved, or was it just you seeing something like on TV and you're just
It
like,
was
I
honestly
love this.
so growing up again, New England, the beginning of the dynasty era of Tom Brady and everything, and just being in a neighborhood full of kids that all let's play football in the front yard. Let's do this. Let's do this. And it just kind of turned into something that was always a group activity all together, doing and following and knowing. So that's kind of just where it stemmed from. And then growing up, participating in soccer, I played basketball, I did gymnastics, and just getting involved in other sports. But yeah, realistically, I always just fell back on there was a camaraderie, I guess you could say, with friends and family and other things of it.
So because you're from the New England area, are you all in Boston, New England sport favorite teams, or since living in South Florida, are you finicky on both sides, or do you lean towards where you
This
live?
is his way of asking if you're a Red Sox
No, so my honest truth, I don't follow baseball. So
Okay,
would I say I'm a Red Sox fan? Yes, in the general sense of I'm just
of
from
course.
Boston area. But no, I'm not. I don't follow baseball enough where I'm educated. I can be like, yes, full in Red Sox fan. Same thing with basketball. But I will say, family wise, nowadays, I do follow along with the Wizards. So
Ooh,
I guess I'm a Wizards fan. However, it's NFL and hockey are my number one, number two sports. Uh, Patriots are my number one, Bruins are my number one, but I've also over the years been so accustomed to different coaching techniques, styles, players, and even just overall, I've gotten to know the story of some teams. Like for instance, this season, I think we can all say the Lions and with their HBO
Hard Knocks.
thank you. Blanking on the name of that. Thank you. That Hard Knock show really gave just such a love for that Lions team, and I felt enticed to follow along with them.
Mhm.
So number one, go back to is always the Patriots, but throughout the years, there's players that I really just love and follow as well.
Yeah, for it.
No, that's definitely cool. I'm kind of that way now too. At least like the last 2 years, because my sports world hasn't been the greatest. So
Uh,
yeah, I've taken a liking to players and just kind of got into like the gambling aspect and trying to figure all that out and whatnot. So
mhm.
I definitely understand what you mean. We're big Jamal Williams fans. I love that
Oh
guy.
Love
yeah,
him.
He, yeah, he makes me
Amazing
feel like I'm a brick
person.
wall.
I want to have a dance off with him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
he's an electric personality while being like you just hear him and obviously there was an interview after the Sunday night game. He's just himself. He's a
Yes.
nerd. I seen another video today that the reporter asked him like what does he do in his off season or something like that, and he talked about oh no he said he wants to go home and play Pokemon, and the
Hmm.
reporter said Pokemon, and he like
Yeah.
it's just like
Put some
that stuff
respect on
like
it.
yeah, it's just like that type of stuff you don't hear from athletes. Like nerds
No.
and athletes usually don't come together, and he's like the statue for that. And it's awesome to see like players be
Yes.
themselves, no matter how cool it
Yes.
may seem.
Well, yeah, and especially I feel like realistically, you can go as far back and say like Michael Jordan created that celebrity aspect, but in the last five or so years, the idea of a celebrity aspect to athletes has completely changed. So to see somebody that you would hold up on a pedestal and be like, "That's a celebrity. That's a really important person," and have them just be fun, goofy, a little bit more relatable, in essence, is great.
And that's what Hard Knocks is good at. Since they've been doing it 15 years, Hard Knocks is a terrific behind the scenes, and it's something
Yeah.
that I've never played the game of football. I play basketball and baseball, and it just gets me ready to put my head through a wall because that experience and the things you don't see every single week, and you get that
Yeah.
raw on behind the scenes. The fact that it's HBO that they could curse and be themselves is awesome. So I love that you brought that up because every single year I look forward to what team
Oh,
is on that Hard Knocks. But
social
for
media has played a huge part in how
Hmm.
athletes have become themselves, and we can see a little bit more of their personal lives. So
Oh, for
that's the
sure.
one good thing about like Twitter that I really like, that you can see like what athletes are tweeting out. So shout out
Yeah.
yes. So I wanted to give some love to things that you do real quick before we go into our NFL playoff preview. She's Game Obsessed podcast, YouTube channel, Spotify. I'm sure you're on Apple, everything.
Oh yeah.
Vegas Insider. I know you do an Inside Minute. I always see that come up
Yeah.
on my feed. Follow if you're listening. Follow her on Instagram and Twitter. It's on the little ticker there. But talk about that. How you got involved with that, and kind of how you do your picks and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that was actually, I had thought about dealing with, sorry, I'm just going to give up on that light. I don't know why it keeps going in and out. I had thought about doing sports betting and trying to get into it and looking into it. And it was really funny as it coincided right as Vegas Insider reached out to me. And I was like, what a perfect opportunity. Get involved with the company. I can actually learn from people in the company. And so I've now been there almost a year. Yeah, I'm almost a year. And honestly, there's so many betting trends, and you can sit and study these betting trends. And do I believe in these betting trends? Absolutely. And I use them coinciding with how I make my picks. But there's so many times where I'll see picks and right away, I don't even have to do research. I can just right away look at it and go, I know the team, I know the players, I know the circumstance of what's going to happen, and I can feel it. Like, for instance, I just did week 18. I picked the Houston Texans to score a touchdown on their opening drive, which hit. And it was like, I just saw that bet right away and I went, yep. As much as people love to make fun of the Texans, I found them to be a team for as little as they had. They did a lot with that team that they had. So it was one of those I right away went, they're capable of doing it. I know they can, and they're going to hit it. And sure enough,
And they blew their opportunity to get the number one overall pick with that game, which is crazy because it's
right.
like Lovie Smith is a veteran head coach, and he's not going to try to lose a game, and
The
it's
Colts
wild.
needed the Colts wanted to lose too, because the Colts
All in, yeah.
they haven't had a quarterback since Andrew Luck. Let's be real. So the Colts needed I think the Colts had more incentive to lose that game than the Texans did, because I'm going to be honest. I know in the draft, obviously, I think the Texans are going to pick a quarterback, but my honest, wholehearted opinion on Davis Mills, he is not that bad. He has done a lot with very little this season. And if people discredit him on that, they're all wrong, and they were not watching the same games I were.
Absolutely. For anything to add on right before we get into some playoff stuff, anything, if you want to save your pro Dolphins running the table for the picks, let me know, or we'll get right into it.
No, let's get you know
right
what? We're
into
going to end up talking about the Dolphins anyway. So let's just get right on into
Very
it.
good point. Love it. So we're going to lead off. We're going to go in order of, so this, I love the NFL, what they've created. They've
Mhm.
overtaken weekends now when they do these playoff games. Instead of just Sunday all day football, they do Saturday, Sunday, and to my shock, Monday night. So
Yeah.
Saturday matchups, Seahawks at Niners. The Niners are giving
Mhm.
9.5. That's the 4:30 game. We'll each go around kind of breaking it down on what we see, what we like, but seeing the odds and seeing, the Niners, how elite they are on the
Yeah.
offense kinda, and then elite on the defensive end. What's your take on that game?
I genuinely think the Niners take that 9 and they're going to cover it flawlessly, especially defensively. They're going to cover it flawlessly. I love this Seahawks team. I love the middle finger that Geno Smith got to give to everybody this season, because I was one of those people. I definitely counted him out and I accepted his middle finger. I think it's a great story the Seahawks have had. However, I always knew from the beginning through the middle towards the end, they were never going to be super successful. So they will go out on this wild card weekend is where my just initial thoughts are. 49ers, what an incredible story they've had this season. And I feel like it's every season for the 49ers. There's so much injuries that they're constantly always battling through. Yeah, and that's the 49ers story. Every year is injuries. So especially with the amount of injuries and players that are important to their team that have been injured, to see them in this position. I would love to see them go far. I don't think they're going to be in the Super Bowl, however.
Fort?
So I'm looking at this 9.5. That's a lot of points. Last time these two teams played, it was in Seattle, and I think the spread was like 7. I do like this 49ers team. I'm a big Deebo Samuel fan. He's one of my favorite players. I believe he's coming back. I like CMC. They're pretty much built for all Brock Purdy has to do is not turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he's it's going to be his first playoff game. He's a rookie, so it's lucky that they're at home. But I like the Seahawks plus 9.5. I might just take the half point, make it plus 10, just because it's the third time they're playing each other. There's film, all that kind of stuff. Rookie in the playoffs, you never know what could happen. But I think that Shanahan is going to do enough and right by Brock Purdy to make it real easy for him, especially with Deebo and Elijah Mitchell coming back. Just little short slants, screen passes, stuff like that. And then the defense will take over. But love Geno Smith. Like South Florida legend, been watching him since he was at West Virginia. They wrote me off. I ain't right back. Like
exactly.
Quote of the year.
Hell of a year. Yeah, he had a hell of a year. So
yeah.
I hope it's a close game. I think it will be just because it's a divisional game. So
yes, and I would agree. I just that defense. I don't want to count that defense out.
Yeah, they're really good.
It is serious. That in the playoffs, that defense is. You always want to count on defense, but at the end of the day, you got to score points. So I get that, and they're well equipped to score points. Obviously, if Deebo's back, McCaffrey's healthy, the Niners have shown over the last few years, or I would say the last 20 years, because when the Giants played them, they had Jeff Garcia back in the day, and they were an elite team then. And what was that? 2010, 2011. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers over the last 20 years.
He's done a great job with that. He has created an absolutely incredible system. And I hate saying this, but it also needs to be said. He's almost like a modern day Belichick, because it was always the joke was Belichick could take anyone and put him into a system and make it work. He's a modern day version of Bill Belichick, just on the West Coast.
Yeah, and I like that you say that with confidence too, because when you say that, when you compare like new up and coming to, GOATs or legends, you kind of get like, oh, let's see what he is. But the proof is they're relevant no matter who. They started 3 quarterbacks this year. What team could start 3 different quarterbacks and still be like, wait, I think they can make the Super Bowl? Like they're the only ones.
Right. And completely correct. But also I think one big mistake on their fault was going and getting Trey Lance. I will be intrigued to see next season how he works out. I, however, do not think he is the fit for the San Francisco 49ers, because even when they announced he was starting as the head quarterback, as QB1, people in the locker room came out and was like, why is Jimmy not our quarterback? Jimmy's our guy. I think he's going to face some adversity in that locker room and trying to build relationship with those guys. And being out the entire year doesn't help.
The quarterback is the team leader, and if you have multiple team quarterbacks, that means your guys aren't following one guy. That's a great point. After this season, they're going to have to reevaluate what they got going on, and I thought last year was the time to do that. Obviously, Jimmy G didn't go anywhere else, stayed put, turned out to work out, but then Brock Purdy is in there. You had something for it? Nope. So for the record, Jill, who do you have? 49ers versus Seahawks?
I would take 49 in a overall win, 49ers.
Fort?
Yeah, 49ers.
Myself, 49ers. So we want it on record, so we could clip this episode. We could make sure that we'll hold everybody accountable. Next game, that Saturday. This is an interesting game. I think this might be this game and the Ravens-Bengals game for me are the games of the week. Chargers, Jaguars, Saturday night football. The Chargers are only given 1 currently. As I look at it, go ahead, talk to me.
I love this game, so I'm gonna go. We're gonna be putting things on record. Beginning of the season, I actually posted a video, and it was the stupid TikTok filter where random teams popped up. And the Jaguars popped up, and I decided to do a video, and I'm gonna pick their record, ending all, see at the end of the season. I picked the Jaguars to go 9-8. And when I tell you the amount of comments that are on that video of, oh, you don't know football, Jaguars will never do that. So for the exact 9-8 to hit, I was like, amazing. So middle finger to all of those people. I love this Jaguars team. Exactly. Love this Jaguars team. And I get it that it's the playoffs, and I get teams are more competitive. The Chargers have been such a difficult team to read this season. And if I'm looking at even just the last few weeks, I know the Chargers have been coming up, but I feel like there's been a much larger come up in the Jaguars, much more development, relationship building. I was so skeptical of Trevor Lawrence last season. This season, beginning of the season, I was kind of like, all right, he's giving me the same thing. I don't know what happened in the middle of the season for that to change. I love this Jaguars team, and I'm going all in on them on this game.
Yeah, I actually lived in Jacksonville for like 3 years. I didn't go to any Jags games because that's not really my team and they weren't that good. But like you said, they have been coming up. Both of these teams are like the last half of the season. The Jaguars have won like 5 in a row, and they beat pretty good teams. It's not like they're not like beating whoever. So this playoff game, like you said, it's gonna be crazy for the city of Jacksonville. It's gonna be crazy for Duval County. They're gonna show up. And the fact that they get a home playoff game, that I mean, it's going to be rocking in there. I went to Colts Jags game early in the season, crazy. So then they get a playoff game. It's going to be fun. 2 great running backs, 2 young quarterbacks. Like, I mean, defensive studs on both sides on both teams. So I think it's going to be a little low scoring, more low scoring than people think, but it's going to be a lot of big plays. So
yes,
I'm
would
excited
concur.
for this game. I'm gonna lock in. I'm gonna lock in for this game for sure.
So the way I look at this is, I always feel like the Chargers, as far as I've been watching football, are always that pretty team that never get it done. You know, in the Phillip Rivers years, I think I seen a stat. I think I sent it to you for it the other day, where at 1 year the Chargers were number 1 on defense and offense and didn't make the playoffs. Like that was an actual, like how does that even happen? How does like the schedule work against you so much that you don't even make the playoffs in that year? So that blew me away, and it confirms my point even more, where the Chargers is that sexy team. They're that team that you love to watch on Monday when they're on prime time, and they're electric on offense. But you know, in the playoffs, man, the Jaguars, they've been proven that. When they started off with Tom Coughlin back in the 90s, they made the conference. You know, to go to the Super Bowl, lost obviously, but they were
Blake Bortles too. They lost
Blake,
against New England.
they're that franchise that does a lot with a very little. They did it. Obviously, they had that run with Jalen Ramsey and all that. So I'm going to say again, I'm not
Patriots.
Yep. Yeah, that was that was a good time for football. That matchup, that run was great to watch Jacksonville go through. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Jaguars in a close at home Duval. It might be a little sloppy game. It's not going to be pretty, and that's what I think they want to turn it into. They want to turn it into a low scoring game, meaning nobody scores 30, no low scoring, right? In today's NFL. But I think it's a grimy, dirty game that the Jaguars win, very close as the spread says. So for the record, I have the Jaguars. Jill?
I think we're all Jags.
All right, 2 for 2. Moving on.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm taking the Jags.
So now we get into the good picks, which 1:00 Sunday, first game, Bills, Dolphins. A lot going into this. It's probably the most promotive, or you're gonna see a lot of videos of things before this game, out of all the games. Talk to us, Dolphins, Bills.
This game, number one, I'm going to go on record, and I know I have Dolphins fans that are friends of mine, follow me. I do not believe the Dolphins deserve to be in the playoffs. I think I could handpick a couple of other teams over the Dolphins that deserve to be in the playoffs. I hate this game. In a betting standpoint, I hate this game. I think that it honestly could go either way. I have seen, we all have really seen the Bills have games where they show up, they're on fire, they look unstoppable, absolutely amazing, and then all of a sudden they'll have a game where they look awful. And it's the Dolphins are the same way. They can show up, they look absolutely incredible, and then they have games where you're like, what was that? If I'm going to go on record of saying who I like and who I think, the fact that it is at home, give me Buffalo. But yeah, this game's a trap game. I think it's not going to be as interesting as people think it is going to be. Personally, I think this is going to be a dud of a game.
Yeah, because we're gonna be up by 21 at halftime. So no, I honestly 9.5 is a lot. It was at 11 earlier, so maybe there's news that Tua is doing better in his protocol stuff. If Tua plays, it's gonna be a very close game. We beat them week 3, which whatever it was week 3. They had half their defense out. I get it. It's in Miami. It was really hot. The sun was doing its sun thing. Bills fans have still been complaining about that, whatever. And then we went in there, Buffalo. It was cold. They were throwing snowballs at us the whole game. We played well against them. For some reason, McDaniel likes to go away from the run game when it's a close game. And
I can't stand him. I will go on. I will also be on record.
Ooh.
Least favorite coach. He wins that.
Wow,
Yeah.
he's my favorite coach.
No,
I mean,
I love him.
You
That's
know,
crazy.
He is stubborn when it comes to that, but I feel like if it's a close game, stick to the run, and I mean, I think we can beat this team. We beat them before. It was a 3-point game in Buffalo, so last minute field goal, baby. Just have me on the couch, clenched all game, and just
Clinched.
do it. But
Clenched.
I'm for it. I mean, another divisional game, like
Yeah.
another divisional opponent. So we played them twice. It's third time, and let's go, man. I'm hyped. First time in like 6 years, so I'll take what I can get. But I can see your side of it when you said there's some other teams that could get in and that played better towards the end of the season. But
yeah, it is always crazy how that works out. How there's teams that make it and others don't. But you know, I'm not in charge of that.
All right. So as a I was at the Miami game in Miami versus Buffalo. That was an electric game, last minute, like 5-4, 3-2-1 countdown. They didn't get a playoff to win it. That was a close game, but that was everybody healthy, or kind of ready to go. They played most of the game. Tua has been shaken up since, or we won't get into that, but he hasn't been himself. And should he retire? Should he not retire? He's gonna play. You can't tell an athlete to just hang him up. That's like the last thing you want somebody to know. Yeah,
but
if
at
he's
what
cleared.
point, when you've had multiple concussions in a season, you've notably had back issue, like rib cage issues. At what point are you kind of like, it's not worth it?
I agree. It's like when you the Andrew Luck factor, the Calvin Johnson, the Gronk. These are people that I think looked before they got lifetime injuries. They looked at it. It's hard as a competitor to have that injury happen or injuries happen and just go, you know what, hang them up. Let's call it, because you're going to be like, what if? It's easier, I think, to say, let's hang it up before you get those decisions, because it's like, it's a easier decision, meaning I made the decision, not the injury. So I don't think Tua makes the decision to hang him up. He's a hard worker. He's been through injuries his whole career. Those Alabama, he had a couple injuries, the hip, the ankle, the knee, whatever it was. And then now the concussions. It's sad, man, because I root for him. Have no skin.
I say I don't like Mike McDaniels because listen, I get that there's a medical staff and that is their true job their true job is just to say, you can play, you can't play. At what point as a head coach, you are the head respect of these guys, you tell them and they listen and hang on to every word you say. Where are you for player advocacy and saying, dude, I love you. I appreciate you. We have a great relationship. Something like this isn't right. Something's not right. And that's
Mm.
what is my biggest gripe with him is he's all about, I think he's just too egotistical and I want to prove everyone wrong. I want to do it. I feel like he's not actually there as an advocate for his players and them as a whole.
Fair. I like him as far as his scheme, and I love that he's a nerd. He's like a hip hop nerd. You know, he's a modern day coach where he's, you know, he looks like he's stoned every time he does an interview.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. But he's a smart dude. So he went to Yale, I believe, and he studied under Shanahan. So my pick will be the Bills. I will be rooting for the Dolphins wherever I'm watching the game. I have a Dolphins jersey. I'm going to be rocking. But like you said, Fort, there's teams that I want to win, and there's teams that I know are going to win.
Can't believe you're saying that right now.
I'm going all in on the Dolphins. I want, believe. I'm not going to half-ass it. But if the Dolphins win, man, this might be one of the biggest upsets of all time. The Bills are as healthy as they've been all year. They're super inspired. You know, from Hamlin situation. So, you know, they're going to be playing with Jesus, Chuck Norris, all these inspirations, you know, all those
more
fables
reason
out there
for them
for
to
them
be
to
thinking
lose.
about other
All right.
things and emotions everywhere else. And
I'm taking the Bills as well. I think the home field advantage is what really does it for me on that one.
I hope it's a close game at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm 9.5. Yeah, and I love it. Now for me, Giants, Vikings. Yeah, put them all together. Giants, Vikings. Vikings are giving 4:30 game Sunday. Talk to us, Jill.
I was actually impressed with this. I was talking about this last night with a group of people. We can't believe that they're only getting 3. I genuinely would have assumed this would have been a 6 or 7 point game. I love both of these teams. I love Kirk Cousins. I have loved Kirk Cousins. I'm so happy that it just has taken him 25 years of being in this league, it seems like, for him to finally have a good season. On the other hand of the Giants, Brian Daboll, I know, like, I get the Lions. We talked about this briefly. I love the Lions, love Dan Campbell. But Brian Daboll, in my head, I'm enamored by him and his ability and what he did with this team. I cannot wait in the draft and offseason to see how this team develops further. I just, unfortunately, I don't think at this moment it is the Giants' year. I think this is a great foundation for them to take, learn it all, get it, practice, preseason, draft, all that great things. Build an O-line. Get Daniel Jones some receivers. I think it's a great foundation. I think the Vikings are a little bit more far along in that idea of foundation, and that's why I like them to win this game. I think the +3 scares me, so I would probably personally betting head towards money lines, because if you're given 3, that means you're thinking it's gonna be close. Just give me an outright money line on that.
yes, especially at home, I've heard, like, and I've learned along the way that, like, if the team is -3 at home, it's just because they're at home. So
Yep.
lean towards money line. I mean, I love Kirk Cousins too. Kirk O'Chains. This season has been great for him, but it's just something about it when it's not a 1 p.m. game. And I mean, like, the Giants have been doing so much with so little, like no receivers.
Oh yeah.
You know, banged up O-line. Like, it's just been like Daniel Jones and Barkley, and I think they keep it going. I'm not gonna be like my co-host. I'm not even gonna say his name right now and pick against his team, because that's wild. So I like the Giants. I think the Giants keep it going. Barkley has the big game because that Minnesota defense is
It
I do
is.
think Patrick Peterson gets a pick.
Okay.
I
Oh.
roll with my South Florida guys.
Whew. Okay, I like
Yeah, that's right. I
good
picked your team,
good
bro.
no, good feedback. Even if you guys didn't or you didn't, it's good feedback. And if you would have told me at the beginning of the season, we'd be A, talking about the Giants in the playoffs, and B, talking that they might have a shot in the first round, I'd be like, what the fuck happened to our season? Who do we get? And we didn't get anybody. We lost a lot of people. So prior to this episode, I tried to put it on my Plexico Burris jersey, which I owned the last time they won the Super Bowl, but didn't do well with the green screen. So I had to go Odell Beckham, which I haven't worn since the last time they made the playoffs. So now our boat picture curse is over because that was bad when we got annihilated in Green Bay.
Oh yeah.
But this Giants season, like you said, I love that you said that, Jill, where it's not our season. It isn't. We're kind of a baseball reference with the Yankees when we were doing so well in 2017, 18, where we were kind of rebuilding and we went to the right before Game 7 of the conference finals of baseball to go to the World Series. We weren't supposed to be there, so we were playing with house money. Same thing with the Giants now, where that team, the last 2 times we won, we weren't supposed to be there in the first round, second or third. So I'm going to appreciate this game. I'm going to love watching every minute of this game because we're not supposed to be there. House money, all the cliches. But the thing that we do have is we have tape on the Vikings.
You guys also love, and it's my favorite thing about the Giants, and even prior to this season, ugly football. And you guys are so good at it. So good at it. G-Men, ugly football. That's like the tagline.
Yeah. If the over under or the combined score by halftime is under 20, we got a shot.
Yeah.
Like 10-0, even if it's 10-0 Vikings, we have a shot. 14-0 Vikings, we have a shot. As long as it's within that, so you're right. So I'm going to go Giants on this because Homer, bias, I don't care. But I'm going to watch this game and appreciate the fact that we have a lot more hope for the future than we did coming in. Saquon, DJ doing his thing, give them both contracts. For the record, Jill, you have...
Oh, I'm taking the Vikings, and again, I'm taking it at home, and I think in the concept of playoffs, I think they're just a more well-rounded
no problem
team.
I won't hold it against you. Fort, Giants, officially?
Giants, man.
Okay. Next game, Sunday Night Football, Ravens, Bengals, division rival. Lamar, questionable. The Bengals look pretty much healthy, ready to go on all formats. I know Dobbins, I believe, Gus Edwards is questionable as well. Marcus Peters, they're a little bit more banged up than the Bengals.
They're always all questionable.
For sure. Yeah, right up until game time. I think Lamar, real quick, doesn't miss this game. I think he plays 60%. He's playing. So talk to us about this matchup, Jill.
So I went to a Bengals Ravens game, the first meeting of the season in Baltimore. I was at that game.
I did see that. Yep, I see that.
It was a lot of fun. It's so interesting, this AFC North division this season. Every one of these games have been, aside from the Bengals-Steelers game the first week of the season, and then really this last week of the season, every AFC North team game has been, it's like a difference of 2 to 3 points each game. They're really good at keeping it close. They know their opponents very well. Lamar has to play. Whether he's trying to get a deal with the Ravens or he is looking at going elsewhere, and however that's going to work out, Lamar needs to play to show off he's capable of playing in a playoff game. However, the Ravens in the playoffs in the last couple of years haven't been the same. I think there's a lot of struggles offensively. And to me, I think offseason, they really need to take a look at Greg Roman and probably should fire him. That's really my biggest reservation. I think the defense has issues and has struggles, but I think they can that whole team can be good defense. The defensive side of it can show up and be good and play a game. Their offensive side just really scares me. Whereas the Bengals, beginning of the season, looked like garbage. It was absolutely astounding that they had just gone to a Super Bowl. I think now in the end of the season where they've really redeveloped this team, I think they're ready to push for the playoffs, and especially being such high competitors against a team like the Chiefs, they're going to easily take this game against the Ravens.
Yeah, I think Lamar definitely has to play. It's a tough situation for him because of the whole contract stuff. Everyone around him is getting paid. They just paid dude from the Bears that they got. No, I think they paid Patrick Queen just now. They drafted him. But like you said, he has to play because it's either the Ravens that are going to pay him or someone else. We already know what he can
Mm-hmm.
do. He was an MVP, but we got to see what he does in the playoffs. I hate saying this just because, again, South Florida guy, Lamar Jackson.
Uh-huh.
I don't really think it's going to matter if he plays. I think the Bengals have been playing
Agreed.
absolutely some of their best football. Jamar Chase is back. T. Higgins is playing well. They got the other receiver that's really good, Joe Mixon. Like, O-line's finally good. And Burrow is Joe Burr, Joe Cool. Like, he's been doing it. So, I mean, it's just a 7-point spread. I think the Bengals cover that, and I hate saying that because I know it's probably going to be a close game. Because again, you got a lot of division rivals.
The last time they
And
met, it was a 7-point spread, and
yeah,
so
so
yeah,
I think the Bengals pretty much win handily. I think it's going to be out the gate.
yeah,
The Ravens' offense cannot keep up. Cannot
no,
keep up. They
in
don't have
agreement.
nowhere near the playmakers that Cincinnati does, and it kind of sucks because
But I
you give
don't think.
Lamar good playmakers, and he's going to do something with it.
But here's
And
my issue. I don't think it's that the current players aren't good playmakers. I single-handedly, I think it's a coaching issue. And I'm not
exactly.
ready to necessarily look at Harbaugh yet. And that's why I'm going Greg Roman. I think he needs to be out of there. Get rid of that OC and bring in an OC, especially a little bit more of a run-minded OC, because we need Lamar to stop passing, stop running. I enjoy him running. I enjoy his spurts, and he's good at it. But he needs to be utilized as an actual quarterback and not in
Mhm.
the running back position. So get rid of Greg Roman, get somebody that can come in, revitalize that offense, and I think you see a different Ravens team.
One of my good friends from like way back, he's a big Ravens fan, and that's like a weekly tweet of him, fire Greg Roman.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm in. I'm with him. I will retweet
he
it.
hates him. So yeah,
It's all fun when a young quarterback is running until year 3, 4, and 5 come up, and it's just the body's not the same. The hits. I'm watching
Hmm.
it with DJ with the Giants, where I enjoy his running, but it's got to stop at some point. Once we pay him, it's got to stop because it's got to be a quarterback first, throwing quarterback first, and then you run. Not I'm going to run. If I don't have the run, let me pass. That's not
Hmm.
going to last. So as I look at this game, for me, the Bengals have won 8 in a row, technically 9 in a row due to a coin flip or whatever because of the Bills. But they're on fire. Before the season, a lot of people I wrote them off as well, but a lot of people on ESPN, etc., wrote the Bengals off. Can they do it again? Can they go on another run? And they started off very slow. A lot of people
Oh
talking
yeah.
shit about them. Injuries. They went past that, and now they're on fire. And it's all about NFL. Definitely, if you're on fire and you're clicking, that'll get you right into the playoff mode. So I think the Bengals handle this pretty easily, regardless if Lamar plays or not. Um, that's all I have to say. So I got
Yeah.
Bengals.
I'm going Bengals. I would love to see it close. I don't think it will.
Port.
Cincinnati.
Okay.
We're on to
Last
Cincinnati.
game. Last game before we do our playoff predictions and we sign off for episode 58. Cowboys. Hate them. They're giving 2.5 to the BUCS. This is very intriguing. I think this
Oh
could
yeah.
go anyway. Talk to us, Jill.
So the Cowboys are just following along in that same regimen, and I feel like it's ever since Dak Prescott's been there. They have kind of a little bit of a slow start. Then all of a sudden, the middle of the season, look incredible. You're like, is this it? Is this the year that the Cowboys are going to do it? And then they get to the playoffs, and then you're like, oh, it's the Cowboys. So typically going up against this BUCS team, I would be like BUCS all day. However, this season has been absolutely insane in the concept of the Buccaneers. And I've been preaching it all season long. I think Tom Brady, dealing with his own at-home issues, has mentally become very separated from the team, because we've had those moments where he's traveling separate from the team and the this and the that. And I think that obviously we're seeing an on-field relationship issue, because you mean to tell me these people just won a Super Bowl and he has a lot of the same team members, and all of a sudden passes are being dropped, plays aren't being made properly. So I think there's a more mental disconnect on this Bucks team. It seems like in the last few weeks they've been playing better football and getting it put together, whereas the Cowboys I've noticed in the last couple of weeks have been playing less better football. I think you nailed it in saying it can go either way. I just personally, I'm going to go. This isn't necessarily the most educated football pick. I'm just going to go based off of my gut feeling. The Bucks do not deserve this playoff slot as opposed to other teams. So give me the Cowboys, where I think they're a team that deserves a little bit more.
I love the phrase "less better." By the way,
Yeah, less better.
It's totally not correct, but that's a phrase I would use. Go ahead for it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I don't think that this should be a Bucks home game. I don't think that just because they won their division, they should get a home game. The Cowboys won like 2-3 more games. I'm all for, hey, better record, get the home game. You win more games, that's what you deserve. Get divisions out of there for playoffs. I also learned this at a very young age, but I am a very stubborn person. Don't bet against Tom Brady, and I kept doing it, and every single time I lost. So I can't bet against this guy. He just always seems to pull it out. If there's 45 seconds left on the clock and they're down by a touchdown or less, like, he's probably going to win the game. And you hate it because I saw this my whole life. I still see it. So I like Bucks 2.5. I mean, I think they're probably going to win the game because it's just a perfect mix of Brady being Brady and the Cowboys being the Cowboys. They're going to find a way to choke.
That's it. That's actually the description of the game.
Give me the Bucks. I like the Bucks. I like Brady. And it's like
it's a weird game to be so stumped up on. Like, that's what is amazing.
And the NFL knows what they're doing. They made that the only game that day, that night,
right
on Monday night. Like, come
on. My picks are simple. My pick for this game is simple. Just like across the board, there's 3 teams that I enjoy to watch lose almost as much as I like to watch my team to win. Go ahead.
Eagles, the Redskins football team Commanders, and the Cowboys.
It's funny. That's a good guess in football, but it was across the board in sports, meaning the New York Knickerbockers, the Boston Red Sox, and the Dallas Cowboys. Whenever they have a meaningful game, those 3 teams, I lust for those teams to lose way more than I'm passionate about my team in a situation. So the Cowboys, I will never take them in under any circumstance. It will be the devil versus the Cowboys. I am Satan lover, if that's the case. So I will go with the Bucks. Tom Brady, he's a single man. He's a little bit of a weirdo with his kids, off the record. We had to throw in some jokes in this podcast. We went 48 minutes without any like weird jokes. I had to throw it in there. He is kind of a creeper with his kids. Stop doing that. Stop taking pictures and videos.
The guy altogether is weird. I'm sorry.
It's weird.
And I have my own personal thoughts on him that I don't want to delve into, but I think altogether he's a weird dude.
This was heavy on football.
Reconstruction stuff going on.
He's a good-looking guy, but Jill, we will have you back on next time. We will talk a lot of, off-the-record type stuff. This is just a professional podcast. Let's stay on the field. Let's stay on the field this episode. But I got the Bucks. Jill, who do you have?
I'm taking the boys.
The boys. Fort.
Bucks, baby. Let's go.
All right.
Now another pick 6.
Now that we gave you guys easy money, to go on and bet, and we'll see how that goes on. Maybe Jill, when you come back to South Florida, we'll have you on. Maybe right before the Super Bowl, we'll have some fun. I think we dig the vibes. Let's go with a quick last segment.
Okay. Super
Bowl, AFC, NFC. Who do you got, and who do you got winning it?
Ooh. Okay. I'm going to go, this isn't I'm not coupling a lot of football knowledge into this. I'm going to go based off of kind of how you guys have been doing it with a who you want type of a deal. I would love to see the Bengals, and I'm going to go Vikings. I think that would be a fun matchup, and give me the Bengals.
I just threw up in my mouth if I ever have to watch that Super Bowl.
Hey, that
Vikings,
would be
Bengals.
that would be a good matchup. Like,
It'd be fun.
I just want to
playmaker-wise,
see iced out.
Judge,
Like,
Chase.
give me more iced out Kirk. What does going to the Super Bowl iced out Kirk look like? Right.
Yeah, no, that would be a very fun young, like with Jefferson. You got Jamar Chase. You got a lot of fun. Yeah, no,
together, like
that'd be a very good modern day. You know, all right, fine, all right. I like it more when you talk me into it. Yeah, no, all right, it's cool. It's hip. It's hip hop.
It's good for social media. It's a good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it gives. We'll see a lot of gritties, and I don't want to see any more gritties on the field. We'll see way too many gritties for who you got Super Bowl.
I like the gritty.
All right, but it's done. It's like the
Super
dab.
Dab son. Besides the Dolphins. I'm not gonna do that to y'all because that's too homework.
Besides the Dolphins.
I mean, come on. I do like the Bengals. I think the Bengals they have what it takes. They're really hot. They're hot at the right time. So I'm going to take the Bengals AFC wise. Going to back-to-back Super Bowls is insane in itself. So that'd be cool. I don't want the Bills. Fuck that. But NFC, give me the 49ers. I want this matchup. Debo, Jamar Chase, fucking Joe Mixon, CMC, Brandon Ayuk, two young head coaches. Defense on both sides is pretty good. So let's go, man.
Let's
Bengals, 49ers. Who's gonna win?
Okay.
Bengals.
Oh, okay. So we're Bengals over here.
Let's go. Cincinnati.
Okay. I like that. I don't like it, but I'm just saying I like that. I'm just gonna go generic. There's one matchup I could have gone with my Buffalo Bills that I picked preseason, but a lot has happened since then, and I'm no longer rooting for the Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna go on the AFC side. I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I just think they lost last year, and they were in it as much. Remember that? We were going live, we were recording episodes while watching those games, and they were fun, man. Bills, Chiefs, or Bills, Chiefs, Bengals. They were fun games
rule too because of that.
Yes. So the last couple of years we've been recording pods while watching that live. But I'm gonna go generic with the best two teams. I'm gonna go Chiefs, Eagles. My only other,
bro.
I know. Hey,
I
need the Eagles to not do anything. And
me too. I hate the Eagles.
It's solely not because of anything with the team. I'm all go team. I can't deal with more Eagles fans.
I know. I hate them. They're the worst. They're my second hateful team. They're the worst. No one likes. I don't think Philly fans like themselves. I'm pretty sure.
I would agree with that.
They hate themselves. It
doesn't get any worse than that.
So I know, but I'm trying to be unbiased. I got Chiefs, Eagles. I think I'm gonna go the Chiefs if that's the matchup because there's no way I want the Eagles to win. The other team that I have in mind, but I don't think they have like that quarterback is with the Niners. I love the defense, the elite, but it's like when you need to score, can you get it done? They have the weapons, but something tells me that if they matched up with the Eagles will get it done. They're fucking elite. There's a reason why they were almost undefeated all year, and they've only lost a couple games. So it'll be fun. Thank you for your predictions, and we'll
MVP?
make sure to clip
Who's
this.
MVP?
MVP of that game?
Go ahead. No, just MVP.
Oh, MVP of the season? Oh, that's a good pick. Go ahead.
I feel like I change it weekly.
I think MVP has become a quarterback award.
Yeah, it really is. I hate it.
I'm vehemently against quarterbacks because I feel like it's always a quarterback.
I hate that it's just quarterbacks. They should
be quite honest. I would love to see it between either Justin Jefferson or really three wide receivers. It's kind of just my top, and it changes weekly on who I think gets it. Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, or Tyreek Hill. I think all three of those guys have made the season
Damn, Jefferson's
more entertaining to
numbers are
watch.
sick.
And that's what's valuable. You want the more entertaining player. And
Yeah.
weekly it changes by which one of those.
Jefferson's never missed a game. I love
That's
that.
what I'm going to say. I think
Love that.
Jefferson has been a lot more on the consistent basis of that.
God,
So,
Yeah.
his numbers are ridiculous. Played
Mhm.
16 games, 17 games, 17 games. Receptions 88, 108, 128. Oh my dude, his numbers are this is the first time I ever look at his career numbers.
Yeah.
They're stupid.
He's gonna win Offensive Player of the Year just because
He should.
Mahomes is gonna win MVP.
That's
right.
I
And,
have
and
that. Yeah.
MVP always goes to a quarterback. So I always try to stray away from quarterbacks.
No, I like that you do that because I hate that that's become a strictly quarterback award. And
Right.
if that's the case, just make a quarterback award. Like the baseball has like a Cy Young and an MVP. It's like just do it different. You could do that.
Yeah.
It's fine. More money for you guys, more advertisement. We went a little longer than expected. We while we're recording, I'm like, out of all the people we've tried to have on the podcast, whether we know them a lot more than you do, when we're traveling, we have to make accommodations. The fact that you were able to do this means a lot to us. Seriously,
Yeah.
we appreciate that
100%.
because you're on vacation. You don't have to do it. You don't know us. We don't know you.
Right.
You could easily said, "Hey, when I get back, you couldn't do yesterday, and you said you do today." That means a lot. We'll make it up somehow if we can help you out in any way or coming
course.
back. That's dope. That shows your character and who you are. So it's easy to say no in the podcast realm that we're in, and the fact that you said yes pretty right away after you couldn't do Monday, we tip our caps to you. But
Thank you. Thank you for
Before-
having me.
before we log off, anything you want to promote, podcast,
shout-outs.
anything you got going on, shout outs. Go ahead.
Yeah, really, realistically, follow me. He has it all down there. They both do. It's great. It's easy. I've honestly been on a little bit of a hiatus with my podcast because this season I've done a little bit of travel, which I'm very grateful for, but it's kind of thrown a wrench into a lot of my podcasting. So definitely something that will be back on a strict schedule. But go ahead, give a follow, and then I'm always posting stuff on my social media accounts, which are all the same. It's Jill Bijolle. So follow me all over the place. And that's that.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
Episode 58, Elvis Escobar, Fort Sama, Jill Bijolle. Go follow her, check her out. She's awesome. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. Enter
Thank
the
you.
lab, exit the lab. Peace.